Welcome to SceneSafe training. This video will provide you with an overview of traffic incident management best practices to help keep you safe. It was developed by Minnesota First Responders for Minnesota First Responders. By applying traffic incident management principles, we can keep first responders and all road users safe. This information will help you reduce the risk of serious injury and fatalities when responding to incidents on Minnesota's roadways. In this video, you'll learn to recognize the importance of traffic incident management, or as we refer to it, TIM. Apply TIM best practices when responding, and recall TIM scene management strategies. While this video will cover general TIM best practices, remember to always follow your department's policies and procedures when responding to a traffic incident. What is TIM? Traffic Incident Management, or TIM, is defined as the planned and coordinated response designed to detect, respond to, and clear traffic incidents as safely and quickly as possible. Roadway incidents are hazardous, random, and chaotic. This training will help equip you with best practices that can reduce risk and help you plan for the unexpected. The 4 TIM goals include reduce responder exposure, reduce travel delay, reduce incident clearance time, and reduce secondary crashes. There's an important role for all responders involved in incident management. The TIM team includes emergency communications, emergency medical services or EMS, fire, law enforcement, tow and recovery, roadway owners like the Minnesota DOT, emergency management, and others. While all responders benefit from the shared knowledge of TIM, relationships matter. Familiarity, trust, and ongoing communication is foundational to keeping everyone safe. TIM is essential on all roadways, urban and rural, to improve responder safety and incident response. It may seem like there isn't much risk on rural roads because there's less traffic. But whether a roadway carries 100 or 6,000 vehicles an hour, all it takes is one driver not paying attention when approaching an incident scene to cause a secondary crash or struck by incident. Drivers in rural areas are typically used to less traffic, higher speeds, and don't encounter slowdowns or traffic impacts as often as drivers in urban areas. So while there may be less traffic on rural roads, responders still need to be on high alert to minimize the risk for a secondary crash or struck by incident. High speeds, well over what our roadways were originally designed for, are contributing to a greater number of crashes with more serious outcomes in rural areas. In fact, 61% of Minnesota roadway fatalities occurred on rural roads in 2023. Our rural areas inherently have fewer resources and longer response times, while our metro areas carry much more traffic across multiple jurisdictions. This means that traffic incident management might look different depending on where you work. Rural or urban, communication, planning, and a willingness to work together is essential for a safe, quick response that keeps responders and motorists safe.
I was up at the Egan parking garage helping jump in another vehicle when I got the call, and I headed to the call. Pulled up, the van was in the ditch. It was my first time winching a vehicle out of the ditch like that by myself, and I talked to the state trooper. I was like, yeah, it's going to take me a little longer than most because it's my first time. I did call another tow truck to come help me out because I wasn't sure I could do it. But it took a few tries, finally got him out of the ditch. And I went back to my truck, totally forgetting to get his credit card information. My dispatcher asked me to go back to the van to get a card. And I was on the phone with her, relaying her his credit card information. Handed him the card back, and that's the last thing I remember before I woke up in the ambulance.
Struck by incidents can involve responders, bystanders, motorists, and vehicles. Too often, they can be catastrophic. In Minnesota, the Ted Foss Move Over Law requires drivers to slow down and move over when approaching any vehicle with its hazard lights on or if people are outside the vehicle. The law is named after Minnesota State Trooper Ted Foss and serves as a reminder of the potentially tragic outcomes our first responder community faces each shift. Unfortunately, secondary crashes can and do occur within an incident scene or within the backup of traffic that has resulted from a crash. Secondary crashes can even occur in traffic traveling in the opposite direction.
I was responding to a two-vehicle crash. It was minor damages to the vehicle, and we were in the left shoulder, away from the lane of traffic, and traffic was moving slowly because of the crash and everybody taking a peek at what's happening there. And it was one of the vehicles had enough damage that he wanted to get it towed, so he had somebody coming, a private tow, to respond to the scene. While he was working on that, I was finishing up the paperwork and getting the information to both drivers involved. And while I was there outside of the second vehicle, I was looking around behind me at traffic, and I did see a vehicle go into the median. I heard a sound. It sounded like the vehicle maybe hitting into the ditch. And then I watched it hit the cable barrier, and then from there, it started heading towards me at pretty quick speed. So at that point, that's where I responded and tried to alert the other drivers that something was about to happen. I moved out of the way as quickly as I could, and then that vehicle that ran off the roadway went right into the front vehicle of my crash.
Nationally, the statistics tell us that for each minute a lane is blocked, the likelihood of a secondary crash increases. That means that every minute you're out there, the potential exists for another incident that could seriously impact you and those around you. Even in areas with lower traffic volumes, the risk of secondary crashes is real. We rely on responders to know their areas, understand traffic patterns, and make decisions that keep everyone safe. Incidents also result in traffic congestion, delays, lost time and productivity, increased cost of goods and services, increased fuel consumption, and negative impacts on air quality and the environment due to idling and slow-moving vehicles. By implementing TIM best practices, you can perform your job duties safely, clear the scene quicker, and reduce the risk of secondary crashes. Accurate, clear communication between all responders involved helps everyone arrive on scene sooner, safer, and better prepared to clear the scene as quickly as possible. When working crashes or incidents, it's helpful to know and understand some common terms that will likely be used by responders, including terms like northbound and southbound, or eastbound and westbound, median, left shoulder, meaning the inside shoulder, left lane, and right shoulder, meaning the outside shoulder. In urban areas, lanes 1, 2, 3, and so on will be used. Upstream refers to the area and traffic approaching the crash or incident scene. Downstream refers to the area and traffic past the scene. The gore is the striped area at ramp locations. When arriving first on scene, an initial scene size-up report should be provided to dispatch. Dispatchers are often the first to be alerted of an incident and are responsible for assessing the situation, dispatching resources, and starting a computer-aided dispatch or CAD record. Key information should include the exact location of the incident, the number and type of vehicles involved, the degree of damage, number of lanes blocked, any hazards or unique safety concerns, and the investigating agency with command. It is critical to share the right information during the initial scene size-up so dispatch can send the right resources at the right time. It's like a game of telephone. The information you share is what gets to the tow operator. If you provide details, tow can bring the proper equipment. Throughout the duration of the incident, evaluate the scene. What do you have? What do you need? What do your partner agencies need? More protection? It's helpful to estimate how long the scene may take to clear to answer these questions. It's important to know and ask for traffic control resources. Be as specific as you can as you communicate what you need from later arriving responders. Where do you want them to park? Do you need them to block a lane? Do you need them to provide additional advanced warning? Longer duration closures need more advanced warning for approaching motorists. Consider day and time as it may impact access and response times for those supportive resources. One best practice is to establish unified command. This is where the role of command can be shared by two or more individuals representing different responder disciplines. You don't need to establish a complicated command structure to get the benefits of unified command on a crash scene. It isn't about the command structure, but rather defining clear roles, trusting each discipline to complete their responsibilities, capitalizing on existing relationships, and communicating what each other needs. It sounds simple. Talk to other responders, listen, determine who is in charge initially, and work together. But in high-stress situations, this can become challenging. That's why it's so important to take the time to get to know other responders in your area outside the pressure of an active scene to better understand their response responsibilities and priorities. When responding to a scene, keep your emergency vehicle under control at all times. Exercise caution and pay close attention when approaching intersections. Minnesota state law allows responders to proceed through red lights, but it must be at a speed that could prevent a crash. No matter what, always wear your seatbelt when you're behind the wheel, even while parked on scene. Remember, responders aren't invincible. You have to get there safely to make a difference. When arriving on scene, park your emergency vehicle or apparatus in a way that helps protect the scene and those working it. Intentional positioning of responder vehicles can help prevent other vehicles from entering the scene. This is known as blocking and can be accomplished by positioning vehicles parallel to travel lanes or at an angle. Large, heavy vehicles provide the best blocks. Make decisions on what to block based on what you need to protect, where you will be working on foot. An example is lane +1 blocking. This is when responders block the involved lane or lanes, including the shoulder, plus one additional lane. On two-lane roads, this can look like blocking one lane and conducting flagging operations to manage traffic. You can take more and block the entire roadway in both directions if needed, but you are responsible for evaluating what to do with traffic. No matter what roadway you're responding to, block what you can, take only as many lanes as you need for only as long as you need them, and open lanes back up to traffic as soon as safely possible. Once on scene, evaluate your options to safely work the scene. If there are no injuries and vehicles are drivable, move them out of travel lanes to a safer location. Otherwise, work the scene in place. If there are critical injuries, the priority is life safety. While extrication and patient care is the primary focus, always make note of anything of concern, such as any signs of impairment like opened alcohol containers or any drugs present, or obvious signs that seatbelts were not used, and report to law enforcement. If fatalities are known, freeze the scene. No one touches anything until the crash investigation allows. If the incident can be safely moved to another location, attempt to move the vehicle under its own power. Remember to evaluate if there are hazardous materials, unsecured cargo, or anything else preventing you from safely moving the scene. When possible, moving incident vehicles off the roadway is always safer for everyone, allows for quick clearance, and reduces responder exposure. Establishing a safe scene for all responders is essential. Responder safety is improved by using these proven TIM tools and techniques to alert drivers of the scene and control the flow of traffic. Emergency lighting is designed to alert drivers that responders are on scene. However, when these lights grab attention, they don't provide specific instruction to drivers on what to do and where to go. That's why it's crucial to use additional tools like cones, flares, and thoughtfully positioning emergency vehicles. These measures help guide traffic and improve safety. It's also worth noting that emergency lighting has become significantly brighter over the years. In some cases, this added brightness can actually make it more difficult for drivers to spot responders who are on foot. For optimal safety, responders should use the brightest lights during the day and reduce their intensity at night. Another challenge at any incident scene is the presence of drivers who slow down to get a better view. This can create delays and, in some cases, lead to secondary crashes. Consider if your emergency lights could be contributing to these issues or even making them worse. Technology has also advanced to provide responders with more options when procuring, installing, and programming emergency lighting packages. If you have options, it can be helpful to consider if your lighting package features high and low switches, if you can turn off your front-facing lights, if you can default to a less confusing light pattern when stopped, and if there are options to use synchronized lighting or auto-dimming. Know your vehicle lighting capabilities and understand how activated lights look to both passing and oncoming traffic in both day and nighttime driving conditions. This allows you to make decisions on scene that will make it easier for drivers to see you. High Visibility Safety Apparel, or HVSA, is the clothing that responders wear to be more visible. High contrast colors are effective in daylight, and retroreflective materials illuminate at night. Minnesota OSHA rules specify the use of high visibility vests with exemptions for law enforcement and fire departments in some situations. HVSA is a key component of TIM safety, helping to reduce and prevent serious injury. Remember to always be seen. Always wear your high visibility traffic vests and jackets. It's always safer to work as far away from traffic as possible. A zero buffer occurs when there is limited or no buffer space between involved vehicles and an active lane of traffic. Anytime a responder is on the traffic side of a scene, they are in danger. Avoid working in this area if at all possible. If there are no alternatives, remain aware of your surroundings and communicate with others on scene who can help alert you to danger. To that end, keep your eyes and mind focused on the road and your surroundings and avoid turning your back to traffic. Watch the road as much as you can and, if possible, assign another responder to help monitor traffic approaching the scene. Responders should also have an escape plan or a protected area where you can dive to quickly if something goes wrong. Beyond the scene, responders also need to consider the traffic incident management area, or the different components needed on scene to manage traffic. Advanced warning area, transition area, activity area, and termination area. Advanced warning tools alert drivers approaching the scene of unexpected slowdowns or stop traffic. This is critical, especially in rural areas. Once the scene moves from being an emergency to a longer duration traffic impact, The expectation for enhanced traffic control increases. Temporary traffic control can include strategically placed emergency vehicles, portable signs, cones, flares, and rolling roadblocks. These tools can be deployed individually or in combination to slow down and direct traffic away from the scene. Request additional resources as soon as possible. Monitor traffic conditions and make changes as needed. Responders should know what warning tools are available to them and know how to contact local public works agencies and the DOT that can provide enhanced traffic control support. If you don't know who to call, have dispatchers assist with the request. The transition area is where traffic is directed, usually from one lane to another, with a cone taper. Cones can be used to create a taper. In traffic control, a taper refers to a designated area on a roadway where traffic is gradually directed to move from one lane or path to another. Tapers are usually 50 to 100 feet in length and contain 5 equally spaced cones or flares. When setting up a taper, maintaining situational awareness is more important than perfect cone spacing. Start on the shoulder, facing traffic, and roughly place cones at every skip line or every 10 paces. Place the last cone on the edge line, then work backward, facing traffic. Take side steps into the travel lane when placing each cone, but always return to the shoulder and monitor traffic. The activity area is where the incident is actively being worked. This area includes responder and crashed vehicles. How you mark the activity area, through vehicle positioning and cones, has an impact on how drivers navigate through the scene. One best practice is to mark the scene perimeter by placing a cone or flare at every skip line. The termination area is where drivers can see that the TIM area is ending. It is the lowest priority to place cones here. It's important to note that drivers may drive erratically near the termination area, often accelerating quickly into open lanes. So it's important to maintain situational awareness if you are working in this area. Other traffic management activities you could consider are flagging operations and alternate route detours. Flagging in traffic control refers to the act of a person called a flagger who stands on the roadside near an incident or temporary lane closure. Flagging typically takes place at the beginning of the transition and termination areas. This person may use hand signals and a stop-slow paddle to control the flow of traffic. The flagger needs to be visible to oncoming traffic. This may mean positioning them further back or ahead of a curve or hill so that traffic has ample time to see them and follow their instructions. Flaggers should never position themselves in the traffic lane and should always stay on the shoulder or a closed lane. This ensures the safety of both drivers and responders by directing vehicles to stop, slow down, or proceed. Always use standard and recognizable stop-slow paddles to direct traffic on two-lane highways. Responders can decrease exposure by diverting traffic to a predetermined alternate or detour route. Local agencies should work together with their community to pre-plan alternate routes ahead of time. When establishing an alternate route, think about typical traffic volumes, number of available traffic lanes, lane widths, shoulder widths, truck and trailer implications like height, weight, and other restrictions, bridge conditions and limitations, any at-grade railroad crossings, construction activities, and necessary communication with impacted local agencies. Make it a priority to reopen lanes and roadways to traffic as quickly and as safely as possible. Use strategies described in this training like moving crashed vehicles out of travel lanes and communicating effectively to get the right resources on scene quicker. Our tow partners depend on timely, accurate information from those first on scene. Communicate any and all information that could be helpful. For involved vehicles, convey the estimated age, make, and models, as well as if vehicles are four-wheel, rear-wheel, or all-wheel drive. Where are the vehicles? Are they on the road or off the road? How far off-road? What is the vehicle position? Is it upright, on its side, or upside down? In many areas of the state, responders often know local tow operators. Is there more information they need? Can you text them a picture of the scene, or even talk to them directly? Providing answers to these questions informs our tow partners and helps them bring the right equipment to the scene. For instance, they will be able to determine whether flatbed or hook equipment is needed. The exact location of the scene and how tow should plan to access the site is critical. It's also important to note other crash and debris details. Work together to clear the debris. The sooner it's done, the sooner everyone can leave. Tow and recovery teams are part of the TIM team and are often last on scene. Take the extra time to block and protect the scene for them. Everyone on scene should know how and when traffic lanes and the incident are expected to be cleared. The scene should be dismantled from the termination area backwards towards the advance warning area. The last part of the scene to clear is the advance warning. Additional in-person classroom training is available to allow responders representing multiple disciplines to discuss incident response. The class includes discussion of TIM applications described in this video, including more detailed information covering hazardous materials, construction work zones, electric vehicles, fires, cable barriers, animals, utilities, and other unique situations you may encounter as a responder. Visit mntim.org for more information or to request in-person training. TIM training helps reduce secondary crashes, improves safety for motorists and emergency responders, supports faster incident clearance times, enhances communication between agencies, minimizes traffic disruptions, and contributes to overall transportation system reliability and resiliency. TIM training directly supports the 4 TIM goals: reduce responder exposure, reduce travel delay, reduce incident clearance time, and reduce secondary crashes. We'd like to take a moment to recognize and dedicate this video to the responders who have been struck and killed on the job. Thank you to all responders who contributed to and have taken the time to watch this SceneSafe training. Your commitment to continuous learning and improvement is vital to our community's safety. We appreciate your dedication and professionalism.